All right, shalom, shalom, testing, testing. 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 Hopefully this shit ain't. There's music in the background. I'm trying to put it low. Let me get a thumbs up from somebody if everything is clear, or is the music making it distorted. I'm trying this new feature that I got when I updated my, I think it's actually messing it up. Do that. Let's take this off. Leave it like that. I'll just throw it out there. All right. I'll leave it like that. All right, all right. All right, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, Kor Haloyim La Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem, Bachach. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwaf that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Amawan back at you with another lesson. We're going into the title, all right? Sedition among men, civil war soon, all right? And it was actually supposed to be civil wars on the horizon. Oh no, I guess it never changed. All right. So I'm gonna bring out a couple of videos based on civil war. All right, and I'm gonna grab a couple of scriptures. I was watching this one. What gave me the inspiration? I was watching this one video by some Chinese guy. His name is Zhang Zhuang. Let me see. Let me bring up this video. In 1 second. His name is Zhuang Zuqing, right? And it said the title of his video, which was dropped 12 days ago, says, "What's the next 240 years look like in America?" All right, and then it says Civil War, all right, which I'm not gonna play the whole entire video. I'm gonna get to the main focal point that he says, which is early in the video, like the first 45 seconds. All right. But the video itself was actually pretty, he was saying some good points, but then he started going off with a couple of different things, but he was actually bringing out things according to prophecy. All right. But because the topic is based on sedition among men, civil war. All right. I'm gonna only grab the first part, like the first minute of it. All right. Concerning civil war, because he brought out a very drastic point, a very good point, all right, that's going to lead, why it's going to lead to civil war here in America, all right, and Prophet's been telling you this for a while now, all right, that this World War III will lead to a lot of civil war based on the draft, okay, because what you have going on right now in America is division. All right. Let's bring this out. This is Yahushua said it clearly, right? That he was going to bring division among the people. Okay. And we're seeing division being brought here, okay, in America. All right. So this is Luke 12:51. It says, suppose ye that I have come to bring peace on earth. I tell you nay, but rather division. All right. So the Lord is bringing division upon America. Okay. And that's why civil war is on the horizon. Okay. You have these devils. All right. As the scriptures say, if Satan cast out Satan, all right, shall the kingdom not stand? Okay. So let's grab Matthew 12:26. It says, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Right? This is Luke 11:18. It says, if Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Because ye say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub, right? So again, if Satan cast out Satan, right? If Satan goes against Satan, which you have a lot of division amongst these Egyptians here in America, right? Pertaining to Isaiah, the 19th chapter, right? The Lord said, prophesied in verse 2, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. You see? So why is it going to fail? Because there's division amongst Americans here in America, okay? Especially pertaining to this war out there in Iran, okay? Because now there is a draft that's going to come up, all right? And a lot of people, a lot of young people, all right, they're going to try to fight it, all right, and not go out there. So that brings sedition amongst men, protests, okay? It brings people standing up against the government, okay? When you don't go to war, all right, you're sent off to prison, okay? So that's going to start up civil war, civil riots out here in America, okay? You got the young crowd that's not going to want to go to war, okay? You got the fathers, okay, the mothers of these young men that are going to be protesting and standing up for their children, all right, basically telling them they don't want to fight. They don't want them to fight in this war that pretty much the government here, all right, that your cruel Lord has started himself, all right, for certain reasons, all right, because he is being exposed. Esau can no longer hide himself, right? He's in the time where he's being exposed on a very high level, okay? The whole world is starting to realize who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, okay? Along with, all right, these imposters that's out there in Jerusalem, right? Out in our homeland, all right, claiming to be the children of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, all right? And in their book, they claim to be the children of God, right? And we're starting to really see that they are nothing but criminals, all right? They are nothing but devils that wage war, you know, on all these different countries to make and expand their land, to make it greater, okay? They're in the time of making Israel greater, you see? And this is why they're trying to, you know, wage war against all these other nations, okay? Which the top banking families that rule, all right, behind closed doors, that pull the strings, they know exactly what they're doing, all right? They're waging war because they know eventually it will collapse all these different economies, all right, to help expand their economy, right? To expand their NWO, all right, which eventually is only going to work for a little bit of time. It's only going to work for a matter of time because Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, in the fullness of his sufficiency, right, when he is about to fill up his belly, he's going to rain righteousness upon him. He's pretty much going to intervene and, you know, return it upon his own head, as the scriptures say. Okay, so this is why you see much division being brought here in America. Okay, now let's grab this video, all right, that he was basically speaking in. All right, this guy, Jiang, I believe it's Jiang Zuqing. All right, listen to what he says closely.
So what this means, so given this convergence, we can actually predict certain events that will happen over the next 2 to 4 years, okay? Because they all want these things to happen together, all right? So let's look at some quick predictions. Okay. First prediction, of course, is that the US will use ground troops. Because using ground troops will create a national draft. And what does a national draft do? It creates a civil war, right? A lot of young people are going to refuse to fight in this war. And this is going to create protest. Then America will have no choice but to deploy the National Guard. And this will create the recipe for a lot of civil conflict in America. Okay? Another thing.
You see, so that's the key point right there, right? That's the key point right there. So by them bringing in these ground troops, which that's what United States wants to do now, right? That's why they're pretty much bringing out this this draft, because they're about to draft many to a ground war, okay? And with the ground war, okay, comes civil war, as he said. Why? Because now you have to, for a ground war, now you have to make a military draft to bring extra soldiers, all right, to defend your country. Okay. Now, most of these people not going to want to fight for this country because they see what's going on, right? How everything is being exposed and how they're pretty much your cruel lord, your president is endangering the economy of America. All right. And right now, our people, all right, are losing the war against Iran. All right. Whether they telling you they're winning it or not. All right. Iran is giving these damn devils an ass whooping right now. All right. A lot of deaths are accumulating. All right. With this war. So you got people in the Navy out there clogging out toilets. All right. Setting boats on fire. A lot of them are smoking marijuana so they could be sent home. All right. And not fight in the war. Okay. These are the different things that are happening right now with these amongst our soldiers. All right. As the scriptures say. All right. Let's grab that real quick. This is Jeremiah 51. All right. In verse 30. And it reads, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might has failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. Okay. So it says her might in the NLT, her mightiest warriors no longer fight. Yeah, because it's not like it used to be back in the day. All right. Where people were ready to fight for their country. People, you know, here in America, you know, they actually were men. All right. Whether they were heathens or not. All right. People, when they fought in World War I, World War II, all right, those were actual men that fought to try to save this bullshit ass country. Right. But nonetheless, all right, they were actual warriors. But see, the people today, if you can see, all right, how America is a very weakened nation, okay, is a very effeminate nation now, all right. It is spiritually onto Sodom and Gomorrah, is spiritually onto Egypt, right? That shows that our people, all right, are not fit for war. They're not built for war like they were back in the ancient times, man. Not in the ancient times, but in the years back, okay, 1914, 1942, okay. So it says, her mightiest warriors no longer fight. They stand in their barracks, their courage gone. All right. And that's what you see. You a lot of these people signed up for the war just to hope that they will stay in their barracks. OK, and collect a paycheck, you know, to be able to, you know, buy a house. You know, they all did it for the wrong reasons, not realizing and counting the cost of what happens when you join an actual military. OK, now a lot of them are sad because now they got to go off to war. OK, now they're being deployed places they don't want to be, and people are not coming back. You see, so it puts them in the spirit of, you know, they remain in their holds. OK, it says their might has failed. All right, they have become like women. These people have become like women. Yeah, and not only have they become like women, all right, they're also in a feminine spirit, okay? Like I said, a lot of these men have been demasculated. You got a lot of men that are in the military, all right, that are just straight, homeborn fagonometry niggas, man, okay? A lot of them is there on some faggoty sexual reasons, man, okay? And that's because America itself has drank the wine and philosophies of Babylon the Great, okay? They have drank these, ancient customs of Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? That's the times that we're in. This is the things that they push here in America. So it's like a disease. It grows, right? So it says the invaders have burned the houses and broken down the city gates, okay? It says the news is passed from one runner to the next as the messenger hurry to tell the king that the city has been captured. All the escape routes are blocked. The marshes have been set aflame and the army is in panic. Okay. And that's what you see here in our military, man. They are in a panic right now because they are losing the war. Okay. To the point where they don't even want to fight. All right. So now with this devil, being able to rule over the people, he's calling for a ground war. He's calling for his allies to help. Allies don't want to help. All right. And even though he's losing the war, he's still going to proceed, all right, to do what the elites tell him to do. They're going to still proceed and do what Israel tells them to do. Because remember, America is Israel's little bitch. Okay. So whatever these small hatters command them to do, all right, they have to follow by it. This is why they fund them so many billions of dollars a year. Okay. That's why all the small hatters here in America have so many rights and, they own all these things, even though these damn devils don't work. Okay. They live off of, welfare and the government assistance more than our people live off the government assistance. Right. And then they'll try to sit here and act like we the total scum of the earth. Okay. But that's besides the point. All right. So again, you have all these military so-called warriors, all right, not in the spirit of truth, of fighting, okay, not built in the spirit to be true defenders of their country. Therefore, they don't want to fight, all right. So again, this ground war is going to lead to a draft. All right, let's grab this. This is 2nd Ezra 16:33, and it reads, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Why? Because all of these men are going to be drafted to the war, and these men are not going to come back. A lot of these women are going to become widows. Okay. A lot of these women that marry these men, all right, are going to be left behind with children. You see, their young daughters are going to have no helpers because most of these men are going to be taken away. Okay. And they're going to die off in the war. As the scriptures say in the next verse, in the wars shall the bridegrooms be destroyed and their husbands shall perish of famine. You see, and that, and that all goes back to, all right, this military draft. Okay. Now, when this military draft is going to be brought into play, all right, we got to basically just wait. All right. Now, I've heard different things. It might be earlier than that, but I've heard it around December of 2026 is where they want to have this military draft. All right. But the way things are moving through the spirit and power of YAHAWAH'S, it might be earlier than that. You see, the way Trump is moving right now against Iran, all right, it might be within the next 2 months, because you have Iran, all right, threatening America that if they cut off their energy sources, right, then there's going to be big trouble here in America. Okay. And I believe last night it was, or 2 days ago, all right, they actually cut off some energy in certain places in Tehran. All right. So they're in the middle of a blackout. All right. Whether that's real or not. All right. We know eventually it's going to happen. all right? And Iran said that if they do that, if they do cut out lights, okay, that it was going to be a big problem, all right, for America concerning our power grid, all right? And best believe that's going to happen. We know that the lights are going to be cut off out here, man. All right. So there's threats all over the world being given to America of what's to come. All right. Which is definitely warnings of YAHAWAH'S, all right. Because his prophecy has to come to pass. All right. So you heard what he said. All right. All this is going to bring civil war amongst our people. All right. Now let's grab this. This is a couple of TikTok videos that I got, all right, concerning civil war also. And these are all proof to show you of what's coming to America, man. You see, people don't want to realize what's about to happen, all right, because they don't want to face the truth, all right? People tell you the truth and it hurts. But the reality is that this is what's going to happen, okay? Give me a second.
Our president got 5 kids by 3 different baby moms.
What the hell? And I'll just get to my videos. All right. So just bring a couple of these up, right? You have let me see, let me grab it from, they're all short videos. So I'm gonna play them all. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got about 9 of them. All right. But they're all short. All right. So let's grab the first one, right? This is all concerning civil war.
Remember when I told you in the spring that this summer was going to be rough? You know, this is one of those times I get to say, I told you so. I suspect everybody is as exhausted as I am because stuff comes at us all the time. But there are some things developing, some storylines, I think, developing. And one of the ones that I'm going to keep coming back to today is it does feel to me, and I use the word feel very deliberately because normally when I'm talking about a development, I can point to documents or to speeches or to events that establish that that is objective reality. In this case, I'm telling you that watching as I watch, what I think I am seeing, and that's solely filtered through my brain, so it could 100% be wrong, but it certainly feels to me like we are in the process of developing 2 storylines about what the United States of America is. And both of them are deeply rooted in our history. One is the one that the MAGA Republicans led by Donald Trump embraces, and that is the idea that some people are better than others and have the right to rule. Remember when I told you in the spring that this summer was...
And that's basically going into, all right, your government, all right, thinking that they can rule however they want. All right. And what you have to understand is while we be doing all this partying, our people, right? Our people are out there partying. These people are out here caught up in the bread and circuses, you know, caught up in sports world, caught up in your entertainment world of movies and music, right? Hip hop beefs and all that shit. While all this is going on, these devils are making moves, power moves under your noses. All right. You have that one. Let me grab it real quick. All right. That one law that was passed. All right. There's been a few laws that was been passed. All right. Concerning civil war. All right. And these people don't take these things serious. You see, it's all fun and games. Like I said earlier in my highways and hedges, man, it's all fun and games till judgment really comes upon these people, man. All fun and games, so all these things actually come to pass. All right. So what you've had over the last couple months, you know, over the years, okay, even when Biden was in his little rulership, right, in the presidency seat, okay, he was dropping, you know, executive orders that were going to be in full effect today. Okay, remember, even though these damn presidents sit there and they act like they're beefing with each other, when executive orders are being signed, they're signed, all right, for a reason, all right, because it's to push it on to the next president, okay? It's in effect when it comes to the next president. So whether he's a Democrat or a Republican, all right, the executive order was signed. The executive order is made for America in general, you see. So you had in 2024, okay, let me go back into it, right? You had the DOD directive, okay, 5240.01, right? Going into, this was in the time of the Biden and Harris administration, right? Basically, they were given power, all right, to use lethal force, okay, on the United States soil, all right, and was a routine, you know, according to their intelligence protocols, all right. So they were giving power for martial law troops, for Homeland Security, all right, these National Guards to be able to use lethal force amongst our people, man, that are protesters, okay, people that riot, all right. Look what's going on with all these ICE agents, right? They're able to, without warrants, okay, they're able to snatch up your children, snatch you up from your families, break down in your house if they feel like it, okay? Because all your rights have been taken away from you, man. And all this happens while they're distracting you with whatever it is that they're using as a distraction, all right? This is why the true men of the Lord, the prophets, are always on their watch, because we're watching these things happening and we're reading it through the spirit, all right, of what's to come, all right? And this devil knows that he has but a short time, so he has to come with great wrath, okay? He has to make these moves, all right? Because if he don't, well, then he's going to feel like these moves are not going to be put into play, okay? And because we're on the Lord's time, YAHAWAH'S is putting spirit on all these different nations to turn up for war. All right, he's making the weak say, I am strong now. Okay, and they see these things. So now it makes them work in that true Operation Warp Speed. All right, here it is. They quoted these things. All right, and they're actually moving in those type of manners because they have nothing but a short time. Right, the Lord was moving the chess pieces where he needs it to be. So you had the Insurrection Act, all right, in 2025 going into 2026 that was being mentioned. All right, and the Insurrection Act is what, you know, basically how in 1807, all right, you had the National Guard troops within cities that were active with protests, okay? And the same thing is being pushed in this time that we're living in right now, all right? Remember, all right, the Lord said that there was going to be, that the Lord was going to be visiting when you shall see people stand up, all right, against each other. All right, let me grab that real quick. This is 2nd Ezra 9. 2nd Ezra 9, and let's take it for one. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee, then shalt thou well understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of people in the world, you see, so going into these uproars of people in the world, man. All right, these people are standing up, all right, against their own governments. You see people standing up against each other, right? Nation shall rise against nation, all right, kingdom against kingdom, okay? This is what's happening worldwide. So that signifies that the Lord is visiting this place, right? So that's why they had things like the Insurrection Act, okay? So basically the Insurrection Act allows for suppression of civil unrest, right? These people are able to do whatever the hell they want, all right? Concerning martial law, concerning beating and unaliving whoever they feel like it, that makes them feel like they're a threat to society. You see, that right there within itself is going to bring civil war amongst our people against the governments, man. All right. So you also had the quick reaction forces, all right, that were being mentioned, all right, in 2026. All right. They suggested that the Pentagon order the state of National Guards to form quick reaction forces by January 1st, right? Trained for civil unrest. And what do you see with all these different martial law troops right now. You get, you know, they might put 5,000 troops here in this state, 5,000 troops there in that state. All right. So what they're doing is they're spreading them out state to state. All right. So by the time you look, the whole entire America, all right, is covered with martial law troops, quick reaction forces, all right, in each state. And what you think that's there for? It's not there for your protection. All right. It's there for when this shit hits the fan. All right. They're already in place for what they need to do. They have been trained for these things, man. Them themselves know that this is going to happen here in America, civil war. All right. We told you for years, man, that your own troops are going to turn against you here in America. Okay. So you have these quick reaction forces, right, that go hand in hand with the Insurrection Act. All right. You also had the Indiana House Bill 1343 in 2026, right? In Indiana, lawmakers debated a bill to create a specialized military police force within the state National Guard with authority to be deployed by the governor, which critics argue erodes local, and then I cut it off, Salakia. All right. So you got 4 different things that were being mentioned concerning civil war, and you think that this ain't gonna happen? If it was not to be so, then why would they have to put these laws into play? Okay, remember, these devils are speaking as the dragon right now, both sides, right? Republican and Democrats, right? They're both one, okay? They're both combined together, man. All that I'm against you is just for the political views, right? The political TV, all right, to make you feel like, yeah, they're in opposing sides and they're standing up for the poor and the other one's standing up for the rich. None of that shit matters, because at the end of the day, they all sit at the same round table together and laugh together, okay? And they're all speaking what? Draconian laws right now. So they're bringing out all these harsh laws under your noses, all right, to set you up for the okie doke when the time comes for civil war, right? So that's what you were hearing this lady basically speak of, right? That there's going to be, she has a feeling that civil war is going to be brought upon America, and it damn well sure is. Okay. So let's grab some more videos. Real quick.
You've got a snake real.
So Cuba has.
Come on, man. Fucking shit.
Taking one of these homes.
I hate this damn phone. This phone tripping, man. It just starts doing whatever it feels like it. Gotta back out. Hold on. He used to always playing around with these damn. All right. Can never stay in one place without me have to backing it out, right? So you have that video, right? Now this is another one. It says, "What if civil war started now?" Okay.
The year is 2026. The already divided United States breaks apart. At first, it looks like a political standoff. Governors ignore new federal orders. Some National Guard commanders stop answering Washington entirely. Then energy networks break down. Trade stops. And military bases lock down under local control.
What did you just say? They said trade stops, right? They said, let's grab that again, right?
The year is 2026. The already divided United States breaks apart. At first, it looks like a political standoff. Governors ignore new federal orders. Some National Guard commanders stop answering Washington entirely. Then energy networks break down. Trade stops. And military.
So energy networks break down, right? And all trade stops. Is that not what's going on here in this World War III, right? America against Iran. All trade has been stopped, right? Because these devils have control of the Strait of Hormuz, right? They're basically threatening the energy source. All right, you got America that's threatening their energy source, and they're threatening it back, right, for retaliation. Okay, and base is basically locked down. All right, under martial law. That's what's gonna happen, man. And they're trying to bring out a lockdown now. They're saying between an energy crisis, and they're talking about also this new variant. All right, concerning a pestilence. All right, that could bring this to a lockdown. Regardless of what they use for the lockdown, all right, we know through the spirit that lockdowns are coming. All right, we know that when the first lockdown, the first pandemic happened in 2020, it was nothing but a test run, man, of what was to come. all right, to see how much power and control they have over the people. And now they already know, okay? Especially what was going with the war, they have even more control of the people now, because now the people are in fear. And one of the greatest weapons of mass destruction that these devils have is fear, okay? They instill fear in the people, all right, to be able to manipulate them in their minds to do what they want them to do, okay? Come on, bro.
Leading to a massive under local control. Within weeks, the world's most powerful nation splits in two. Fuel, food, and geography decide who sides with whom. So, how does it end this time? Two great alliances form almost on their own. The first calls itself the Federal Coalition, stretching from the Pacific to the Great Lakes and the Northeast Corridor. California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, the New England states, and D.C. It holds most of America's tech industry, ports, and about 60% of the GDP. Silicon Valley, Boeing, Lockheed, Wall Street, it's all here. But it's an economy built on long supply lines, imported fuel, and fragile grids. The second alliance rises from the interior, the Continental Alliance, centered on Texas, pulls in Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky, Kansas, Iowa, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Montana, West Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi. Together, they control every major oil field and refinery in the country, plus half of its farmland. They don't have as much tech, but they can run tanks and feed people almost indefinitely. Two states stand apart. Alaska seizes the moment to go independent, while Hawaii stays neutral, far away from the conflict. So now there are two Americas, and naturally both are convinced they're the real one. And before a single shot is fired, geography already decides the odds. The Continental Alliance inherits the Army's core. Fort Hood, Fort Benning, and Eglin Air Force Base all lie inside its borders. Texas also takes control of Fort Bliss, which sits right on the New Mexico border. Dozens of armored brigades, B-1 bombers, and hundreds of attack helicopters now answer to local commands. The Federal Coalition holds the oceans. San Diego and Bremerton anchor part of the Pacific Fleet. Norfolk and Groton guard the Atlantic. California alone hosts several carrier groups, but their escorts are spread across federal ports and need constant fuel and support to stay at sea. The coalition also keeps the country's cyber and space infrastructure, Maryland's NSA backbone, Colorado's Space Command, and most major communications networks. This won't necessarily be about who fires first, but about who can keep things running. In the East, North Carolina and Virginia become front lines overnight. At Fort Bragg, something unprecedented happens. The 82nd Airborne Division splits in two. Half its officers side with the Federal Coalition. Half remain loyal to the Continental Command. Armored columns push up I-95 towards Washington and Philadelphia, trying to seize the industrial corridor before it can fully mobilize. But cities slow everything. The year is 2026. The already divided United States breaks apart. At first,
so basically what he was saying, I'm going to show you even better. This is what he's trying to say between these two different United States, these different states he was going into, right? This is a better picture, right? Look at this. So you have basically, he was trying to say you have the California Republic, right? And then you have the New England Republic, right? So the New England Republic starts from the east, all right? And the California Republic starts from the west, okay? And basically they're battling to meet in the middle, all right, to see who's better than who, all right? And this is the division amongst America itself, okay? Which at the end of the day, they're all in cahoots with each other. It wouldn't really matter who wins it or not, all right? Because the plan is to have a one world government anyway, right? So this is what he's basically saying, all in one picture. Right, and what you just seen there, right, it says United States of America, right? And then it says U.S. Civil War breaks out after California and New England states declares independence, okay? And that's what's going to pretty much divide all these states. That's why America at one point is going to be divided into 10 different, I believe it's 10 different parts, okay? And it's going to be caused by, you know, the Civil War, Okay. So it says an American Civil War 2026 animated map. Okay. Based on, you know, geopolitics. Right. Let me see what these comments say here. People just talking a bunch of crazy shit. I just want to see if they say anything. Yeah, people just showing faces, big eyes. Yeah, they're just a bunch of faces. Right? Let's grab some more. Okay. And basically, when they were showing you the spread of them going towards the middle, it was basically going what will happen by 2026 around December. Then it went to 2027. I think it went as far as December of 2027. So by 2027 of December, all right, basically there was going to be all hell breaking out loose, which we believe is going to break out way before that. All right, remember, everything is going on the Lord's time. Everything is moving fast, all right, according to prophecy, okay? But these are agendas that they have, all right, according to their ways, according to their, you know, what's written in their books, okay? What's on their agenda list, right? Let's bring this out.
So they're attempting to normalize masked men shooting people in the face and taking no accountability. And whether you think the Minneapolis shooting was fake or not, it doesn't really matter. And not only do I know that it wasn't real, but it's been proven. It was AI, it wasn't real. For the people that think that it was real, did you not notice the fucking dinosaur in the guy's driveway? And not to mention multiple 33s being brought up and 33s all over the scene. But that's besides the point, because a lot of you will just never learn. But the reason behind why it seems as if there's so many people out here defending the ICE agents and defending what the president and JD Vance are saying is because they are not real people. 90% of the posts and comments that you're seeing of people defending what the ICE agent did, they're bots and AI accounts. For the 10% that are actual real people, they're just not even to be taken serious. Those are the people that believe every single thing that they hear on the news. They think it's absolutely impossible that they've been lied to.
100%. This was in March 9th. This was about, I'm talking about 3 weeks ago, this video came out. All right. And I believe a lot of it is also based off of social media. A lot of it is AI. All right. That's why I did a video a while back, about maybe 2 weeks ago. All right. Talking about know the difference between AI and what's real. All right. Because not everything that you see is actually happening, and not everything that you see is real. All right. As the scriptures say, all right, the simple believeth every word. All right. So people that are simple, people that have no understanding of things, all right, they believe every single thing that they see popping up. Okay. You have to have the spirit of discernment to know, all right, what's actually real and what's not. So a lot of these things were brought up, all right, through AI and you know, you have agent provocateurs, you got crisis actors, man. A lot of these things are just put in place to show a certain thing forming, all right, to drill it into people's minds. Again, going back to that fear, you know, and what it does, it actually stirs up actual live situations based on civil war. You see, they'll have something that they'll take out. What I realized not too long ago that they were doing, they were taking old as maybe things that happened 2-3 years ago of, let's just say, a so-called black man getting shot, all right, and then they try to make it look like it was recent. And what that does is that stirs up these Judites, and they see that, okay? And because it wasn't a big topic, or it wasn't reported right away, all right, they're able to use these things on social media, and then these Judites will turn to it and look at it and be like, oh shit, that's wrong, okay? Or something happened maybe 5 years ago, but it was never made, you know, viral on the social media, and now they'll bring it up now, and they'll piss up the people, because that's how they start these wars, man. That's how they start that civil war amongst the people. Then people want to protest on it. People want to riot on it. Shit is old as hell. Okay. Remember, everything that this devil does is a psychological thing. All right. To mess around with people's minds. Right.
manipulated. And the reason why there's so many bots out here attempting to discredit the truth and act as if the ICE officer was in the right is because they're trying to normalize things. We know that most, if not all, of the things that they show us aren't real, but we need to start paying attention.
So what they do is they try to normalize things by putting it on the social media, because that's the number one thing that everybody watches, social media. So the more the people perceive these things and see these things, the more they believe that these things are real, and they believe the lie, and the bigger the lie, they make it look like it's what? Normal, you know? That's why when it actually happen, that's why when you, I'll give you an example. When you see shit actually happen and people getting snatched up or someone's being unalived or some shit, what you realize people do is pull out their phone more than they go help. You see? Because why? They have put that in your mind that it's a normal thing or a normal way of life. So people just sitting in the background with their phones, people just talking shit. Oh, that's wrong, but you don't see them doing anything about it. You see? Because they have programmed in their mind that it's a normal thing. It's a normal way of life, right?
Reasons behind why they're showing us this stuff. And that's not the only recent shooting either. There was 2 more in Portland the other day. There's really no point in arguing with anyone on here that has a different viewpoint than you, because there is only one view to have right now. They want to make it seem as if Donald Trump still has all this support on here, but he really doesn't. Like, they're just bots. So they're attempting to normalize.
So you got that.
Secretary Hegseth, sir.
It says, be prepared. United States of America, as the government have been planning for a civil war within your country. Why do you think all this information is coming out now about the level of corruption within your government? Right? Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. You know, all this corruption that's been going on with the government, all these files that's being brought out on them. Why do you think they're bringing that shit out now? These people have been doing that shit for years, for decades, forever. You know, it's always been a way of their life, man. It's been part of their secrecy, all right, for years now. And all of a sudden now it's being leaked out. Yeah, we know that it's prophecy that the Lord is exposing this devil, all right? But again, people have known these things for years and have heard about these things for years, all right? But again, it's used for the agenda of civil war, you see? Because these elites, all right, they know exactly how people's minds operate, man. So what they do is they'll bring out the truth on themselves, all right? Their own tongue shall fall upon themselves, as the scriptures say, right? Their own tongue falls upon themselves, all right? And now people are in wow, people can't believe it. And then in the midst of that, these people want to go to war. And then you're looking at them like, I ain't fighting for this devil. I ain't fighting for this president as a PDF file, right? A pedo and all this extra shit. See, so it stirs up the minds, all right, to put you exactly where they want you, in a pissed off state of mind. Okay? It'll make you stand up against your own government.
Media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify?
Yeah, and look, we're right next to April, man. We're a week away from April, right? All this is supposed to be going down in April, right after the Passover, all right? I believe through the Spirit that right after the Passover is about to be turned up on a whole nother level out here in America, because every time the Passover passes, things happen, man. The Lord brings more judgment. The Lord turns up even more with prophecy, all right? A lot of our people get unalived in those days, man. You see? And this might very well be the last Passover that we, you know, attend because of what's going on here in America. You know, we're in hopes that we get delivered this year, that all this collapses in this year, that World War III, all right, happens in this year, that the MOTB is presented pretty soon, all right, so we could go to World War III and be annihilated, all right, and that YAHAWAH'S could crack them clouds. But we still have to see these things pass. We just got to be in hopes that it does. We got to keep praying to Yahweh Bashim YAHAWAH'S, continually crying out to the Lord that these things come to pass, man. Okay? So it might very well be the last Passover. It might be the last time, all right? The last days of you seeing prophets out here on these highways and hedges, man, giving you the same word every day, repeating themselves over and over like a broken record, right?
To authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title 10 active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title 10 and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
Secretary Hike said,
Exactly.
sir,
So you can't get around it, man. This is coming out the horse's mouth, man. They're telling you right in your faces that they have these plans ready to go. All right. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of what false flag, right? Because there's a lot of false flags being thrown up in the air right now to usher in martial law, to bring in all these high alerts. Okay. Because that's one of the ways that they're going to bring in martial law. Also, us being in high alert with these damn Iranians, right? With all these sleeper cells that we got here in America. All right. All these people being deemed as domestic terrorists, terrorist attacks. Okay. That's all part of their agenda. Okay. Got a couple of more videos.
This is going to be our last Thanksgiving here in the United States of America. I don't even know how to sugarcoat this anymore, so I'm not going to. I think we've reached the point where this country is just too divided.
March 6th. All right, which you had President Trump talking about this was going to be your last Thanksgiving, your last Christmas, you see? So they want to do these things, man. They want these things to come into full effect. They're in the spirit, even though they tell you Agenda 2030, that we have a couple of years before this pops off. No, man, they already have the spirit of wanting to do these things, man. All right, because this is in their nature. They can't wait to get down busy, man. They can't wait to start depopulating a whole bunch of people out here, man. Remember, this devil's not satisfied with blood, so he can't wait to get bloodshed. All right, scriptures tell you, right, that he was given the power, all right, with the sword to kill. Right, this is Revelations 6. All right, and that's his normal nature, to bring death upon this place. Right, Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. That's how civil war is going to come about, man. By him having the blessing of that sword, having military power, having the law of justice, all right, based on his laws and his system. Okay. As the scriptures tell you that in what is that? Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. All right. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and where is it at? 11, it says, I'll take 10 and 11. It says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. You see? So because they're strengthened with their laws, right? And their judicial system, their what's the branches? You got the judicial, the executive, I think is the one, and I forgot the other one. All right. But because of their system, all right, they're able to control things, man. Right. So he can't wait to put these things into full effect. All right. You see these devils out here trying to use constitutional rights against their government when those constitutional rights are meaningless. They're worth nothing. They're meant for actually to be used against you when they have to do it. And these people think that they're going to pull out some constitutional rights and stop their government with that, man. They could care less. That's just Bush himself said it. It's just a piece of paper you wipe your ass with, man. Okay, they were set there to make you think that you had a say so, that you had something protecting you, but it never was there to protect you, because these devils are known for breaking laws, right? So let's go back.
To ever stitch march back together. And that's not me being dramatic. That's just where we are, if we're being honest with each other. Because MAGA has been begging for this civil war for years, and now they finally got it. It's just cold for now. Every day it feels like we're inching towards something so much darker, something irreversible. And the truth is, this isn't happening by accident. This is totally what Trump and the MAGA movement have done to this country. They've turned neighbor against neighbor, family against family, reality against fantasy, and they've convinced millions of people that the only way forward is to destroy anyone who disagrees with them. And when a political movement only knows how to fight, only knows how to make enemies, only knows how to escalate, there's only one place that ends. We're already living through a cold civil war, and it's only a matter of time before a cold war becomes a hot one. Because how do you pull back from this? How do you heal when half the country is demanding violence, demanding revenge, demanding a king who doesn't even answer to laws or courts or a constitution? You can't compromise with people who think your very existence is a threat. You can't reason with people who believe democracy is optional. You can't unify with a movement that only survives by dividing everything it touches. See, I wish I saw a way out. I really do. But right now, this is the America MAGA belt, and we're all living in the wreckage of it. Everything Donald Trump touches dies. So does America. This is going to be our last Thanksgiving.
And that goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? If Satan cast out Satan, shall not that kingdom stand? You see, so the kingdom can't stand. It has to collapse. It has to fall apart, man. All right, because you got two different sides, opposing sides, that are trying to stand up to gain a certain type of power. They're not at agreement. All right, as the scriptures say, was that Amos 3:2? All right, lest 2 or 3 walk together, can they be agreed? All right, and they can't. You see, because you got one side that wants to have it their way, you got the other side that wants to have it their way. All right, so they can never agree. So that's just only going to bring division, right? This is 3:3 in Amos. Can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Okay. Now, if this country will be in agreement with each other, all right, then, hey, then it will probably be able to stand a little longer. All right. But regardless, it was going to be a point in time where they were not going to come to agreement. Why? Because the Lord is bringing division upon this place. All right.
This is going to be a...
Listen, I'm just, in other words.
Come on. I hate when it does that. So I know Esau just being on my shit. Right? Let's grab
So we're definitely on the brink of civil war. Like, it's already started. And I had a feeling that this was coming, which is why after the election results, me and my family decided to move to a state that is a short drive to the Canadian border. People are being unalive.
We already knew that, man. When we seen Donald Trump leave, right, and we seen Biden be put into the presidency, and then that election was coming back up, we knew that he was going to be elected again just to bring in chaos. Because everybody had this perception of Donald Trump in the beginning that he was this great big, president that was going to make America great again. All right. And we told y'all through the spirit that when he gets put back in presidency the second time, that his horns was going to show who he truly was. And look, and now it's happening. You see, now he's not that same president he was when he first got elected. He was making power moves. He was bringing jobs to everybody. He was kind of what they will call here in America, making America great again, right? But now the second time he came back, look, he even turned it against his people, all right? His own people that had hope in him don't want nothing to do with America. They don't want nothing to do with this president. They have realized that, damn, this devil fooled us, And that's just the spirit and power of YAHAWAH'S revealing who is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Right?
Kids are being detained. People are being ripped from their homes and their businesses. The American people have way more power than they like to make us think we do. It's time to get up, bro. It's time to do something, because at this rate, it's going to be a full-fledged war. Make sure you got your passport. Make sure you got your enhanced license.
And there's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could do other than turn to YAHAWAH'S, as the scriptures say, man. Because knowledge and wisdom is going to be the stability of thy times. The Lord is going to preserve those that have faith in him, man. That's the only thing you could do. Because if you try to put yourself in the midst of all this, then you're going to be taken by the sword, man. If you even try to help the cause, all right, you and those that are in the cause, right, are going to fail, as it tells you in Isaiah, the 31st chapter, right? Those that help, all right, the cause, they shall both fail together, all right? Hold on, let's grab that. This is Isaiah 31. Isaiah 31 and 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, meaning not power, right? And their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall all fail together. You see? So it says in the NLT, for these Egyptians are mere humans, not God. Their horses are puny flesh and not mighty spirits. When the Lord Yahweh raises his fist against them, those who will help us, those who help will stumble, and those being helped will fall. They will all fall down and die together. You see? So those that team up, all right, to make a better place, yeah, you're going to all fail together, man. All right, because there's nothing that you could do to stop prophecy. Prophecy has to play out according to what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai wants, man. All right, according to what's written, right? I hate when this shit happens. It always goes to another video. All right, let's grab
listen, somebody got to tell you the bad news, and I guess I'll be the one to tell you. They coming for your kids. As you all heard, all American allies are not going to pitch into this Iran war. They're not giving their soldiers, they're not giving no equipment. They don't want nothing to do with this war. They said it has nothing to do with them. America and Israel, you are on your own. So guess what? You got it. They're coming for your children. You're going to get phone calls, and you're going to start getting some letters in the mail asking for your kids to report. Because last year when they put that draft in place, they knew what they was doing. They knew this shit was finna get ready to happen. I don't care what nobody says. Oh, this shit was written. Listen, I already think it's fucked up that they sent army recruits to these high schools to get inside these young kids' head. Oh, we'll give you $50,000 signing bonus. We'll give you $100,000 signing bonus, and we'll pay for your schooling. All you got to do is join. Dancing around with kids, holding money up to their ear, and they know kids will fall for that shit just like that because they ain't really paying attention to what's going on in the world. They're playing on vulnerable minds, and it's about to get ready to happen. While your kids is out there on that fucking battlefield, Byron Trump, or whatever, however you say his name, all these motherfucking leaders, kids are getting the best education possible, so they can be the next leaders of the next generation. They'll never serve a motherfucking day in the military. Oh, Byron is too fucking tall. Fuck that. Throw that bitch out there on the motherfucking line. It's sad to see these parents crying on TV, man, because their kids are losing their life for what? For what?
For nothing. For a paycheck, for a Dodge Charger, you know, for a promise that's never going to be kept, man. All right, these devils don't care about you. All they doing is using you, all right, to further push their agendas, man. All right, they're using your life to throw it, you know, to basically be taken away, all right, to go and kill innocent people, you know, to go destroy things, all right, so they can make their expansion of their, you know, their NWO happen. Okay, these people have to wake up and see the bigger picture, man. All right, and this is what's also going to lead to more civil war. Okay, again, like we read in the beginning of the first video we played, man, ground war is going to lead to civil war, man, because these people ain't going to want to have their children go out there and risk their lives, okay? And that will also bring, you know, lockdowns, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of protests, right? I'll play this last one right here.
Well, have you heard the news? There's over 25,000 troops ready to go to all 50 states for civil unrest. And 2020 proved how easy it was to lock down the whole nation. And we're one signature away from that happening. Do you know the first thing you're going to do when martial law is declared? Let me show you. Let's take a look at the Navy SEALs bugging guide. First thing you should do if martial law is declared, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. And do you know how to stay completely off the government's radar? And here's how to stop your phone from tracking you. Do you know what 10 things are most valuable after an EMP? Or where to take shelter in case of a nuclear strike? This is the author, Joel Lambert. He's a Navy SEAL vet as well as a BUDS instructor. And this covers everything you need to know to turn your house into the safest place on earth. They're running some great discounts and it's running out of stock.
Basically, he's just trying to push that little book. All right, but what he said in the beginning was crucial. All right, they showed you how much control they have over the people. All right, in 2020. All right, and now that's why you had Bill Gates basically said the first pandemic didn't get their attention, but the second pandemic will. You see, that's why we know that through the spirit, what he said shows us that when this second lockdown comes, there's no coming back from that second lockdown. We know that this second lockdown is going to be the true lockdown, where they're going to bring in all these martial law troops, where Jacob's trouble is going to intensify to the worst it's ever been. You know, civil war is going to be amongst the people, sedition among men. Okay. Just by the words that's being spoken by the top elites that rule this world. All right. Even by these puppets that are being used in the background to voice their opinions, man. Okay. So let's leave it with this. All right. Just a second. Ezra's 15 and this is 16. It says, for there shall be sedition. Let's take it from 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So the sword, all right, is going into Esau's military power. All right. Esau himself has the blessing of the sword. All right. And it says, and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men. You see, sedition is people standing up against their government, man. All right. As a matter of fact, just for edification's sake, all right, let's bring out that word sedition. Okay. Definition of sedition. All right. Definition of sedition is an act of inciting rebellion, insurrection, or disaffection against a governing authority through speech, writing, and organization, often intended to disrupt lawful government operations. You see? So that's what these people going to do. They're going to stand up against their government to stop, all right, what their agenda is. They're going to stop. They're going to try to stop their kids from going to the draft and going to war. They're going to stop from Esau, trying to stop Esau from bringing in his NWO, okay? But they have the power to continue, so they're going to put people in their places, man. This is why you need YAHAWAH'S, because the God of this world has the power to do whatever he wants, man, okay? And if you're not divinely protected by the true power, all right, and that's only to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? Because that's who the God of Israel is for, man. For our people only, all right? You're going to be caught up. The God of this world is going to put you, all right, in his place, in his agenda. He's going to make you a part of his agenda. You're going to have no say-so because you have no divine protection of YAHAWAH'S, man. Okay? The Lord himself is going to give you up to the sword because you were at agreement with hell and death. You know, you made the refuge of lies your protection, man. You see, you put your trust in the shadow of Egypt, so that became your confusion, all right, and your shame, you see. So that's why you're going to have the sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. You see? So the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay? Meaning that, all right, let's grab that real quick. Let me see what comes up on the AI overview. AI overview of 2nd Ezra 15 and 16.
2nd Esdras 15:16 paints a picture of societal collapse before divine judgment. It describes widespread rebellion and chaos, with people attacking each other and ignoring leaders, leading to total social disorder and a struggle for power.
You see, it's going to be a struggle for power where civil order collapses, man. Okay? Sedition among men, it says the breakdown of social order with civil unrest and violent uprisings occurring. Then it says anarchy and violence, people invading one another and attacking neighbors. Loss of authority, citizens will disregard established leaders, specifically kings nor princes. All right. Power struggle, the actions of people are driven by their own sheer force, taking over based on strength. You see? Yeah, because you're going to have more people, all right, then there's more people, all right, that are going to be against the ways of the government than the government itself. All right. But the only thing they have is what? Power through their military weapons, you know, power in the skies with their jets and their helicopters. Okay. And with that alone, they're able to just knock out massive amounts of people. You see, that's why we're going to need divine power, man. Spiritual power in those days to get us up out of those situations. Because without spiritual power, without Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, we're nothing. We have nothing. We can't stand up against this devil because we're standing up against his blessing, man, which is the sword. All right. It says context. This verse is part of a prophetic message in chapters 15 to 16, often considering a latter 3rd century Christian edition that warns of impending destruction and apocalyptic judgment upon the whole earth due to rampant wickedness, while promising ultimate vindication for the chosen. All right. And that's right. The Lord, all right, is going to bring his chosen, all right, his elect, all right, through the fire. As the scriptures say, they're going to be tried, man. And we're going to succeed because we have the faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and we have Yahweh Bashim Yahushai fighting for us in the background, man. You see? But the rest of these people, they're going to be cut off in the land, and they're going to be cut off in the land and die, man. They're going to have to learn by death and pain, okay? Because they thought that they didn't need Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. They thought that they could just stand up against their government on their own. They thought that they could just be in the shadow of Egypt, all right? They thought that what the prophets were saying was nonsense and bullshit and that it was never going to come to pass. All right. So suddenly will the wrath of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua come upon people, man. All right. And that's when they're going to be in true trouble. All right. That's why you have Jacob's trouble coming upon us. Is about to be intensified on a whole nother level, man. All right. So I'm going to leave it there through the spirit, you know, Lord willing that you were edified. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kol V'Loim La Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem, B'Chakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith and doing as good soldiers of Yahushai. You sisters, continue to learn the silence, watching the true man of the Lord. And hey, keep throwing them prayers up, man, that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua come with a speedy riddance, all right, and comes to destroy this place, all right, as soon as possible, all right, to establish righteousness upon the earth, all right, because this place got to go, all right. This place is about to feel the wrath of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, all right, and we want to be able to be preserved from that wrath, all right. So we have to continue to pray that the Lord have mercy upon us and our households. All right, and Lord willing, we're of that number, and may Yahweh Bashim Yahushai continue to sup with you in your households, and may he bring mercy upon y'all that continually truly believe and continue in his faith on a daily basis. Shalom.